Hey everybody, Matt asked me to put a year in review together. I could tell you about the 31 episodes we published since the last conference, the amazing guests that we've had, the SRE book club. But really what I want to talk to you about today is wrangling bots. But first, a little bit about me. My name is JD Strong. I'm a former Apple reseller, service provider, consultant, and managed service provider. I am a bot and MATX wrangler. I'm Team Python, Team Bash, ZSH or ZSH, and thanks to John Peterson, I'm also a continuous thing doer. So here at MacDevOps, we embrace open source, and I've really strived to find open source solutions for recording, editing, and publishing the MacDevOps podcast. As part of that, we have Craig, Audacity, and Podlove. So Craig is a multi-track recording bot for Discord. He's a little creepy when he joins, and we have some of his friends, also Alistair and Gark, which is Craig backwards because it's a backup bot for Craig. But what's nice about this is that when Craig records Discord voice channels, we get separate audio tracks for each speaker, which means that I can actually edit Matt out of the podcast. I mean, independently level, cut, and otherwise edit the speakers. For editing, we use Audacity, which is a multi-platform, multi-track audio editor that's free and open source as well. It was a little bit of a learning curve, but I think I've successfully wrangled it and even built some automations into it to make my life a little easier. And finally, publishing, we do that with Podlove, which is a group of WordPress plugins that allow us to self-host the podcast. And that means that we're in full control of the content, which is something that we like to do in the IT world, is being in charge of our content. We don't have to depend on third-party hosting or anything like that. It has a slick web player and handles all the RSS publishing for us. So we've had some achievements this year. We hit 100 episodes. It's kind of crazy. But this was just a crazy little idea that we had starting back in 2020. There was no pandemic. There was no craziness except for Matt. But we have somehow magically hit 100 episodes. And even more surprisingly, there are hundreds of you who want to hear what we say, or at least have subscribed and forgot that you subscribed to the podcast. So thank you. We have some future goals here. I'm actively looking for automated transcription, preferably open source, to make the podcast more accessible. And hopefully we can find something that actually works in Discord for us, because we'd like to make the conference more accessible. We thought we had a solution this year, but I upgraded the bot just before the conference and it failed miserably. So that is IT, one step forward, two steps back. And we're looking forward to more interviews with the likes of you, the MacDevOps community. So if you're interested in coming on the pod, please reach out to either myself or MattX to come on the pod. We'd love to hear your story. We also appreciate your support. The easiest thing you can do is listen and subscribe to MDOYVR.com/podcast. You can also support us financially if you want and buy us a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com/MDOpod. We have several more conversations with speakers that we just didn't get to before the conference that we'll publish in the coming weeks. And with that, I just want to thank you all for being part of the conference and listening to the podcast and supporting us. We really appreciate it.